The aliens laughed as their ship entered Earth's orbit. Captain Vrex of the Kaleri Scavenger crew leaned back in his chair and pointed at the blue planet below. "This is it," he snorted. "This is the famous Earth. Looks like a broken rock." To me, the crew chuckled. Earth had been a joke for centuries. It was once a proud world, full of human noise, war, and invention. But that was long ago. The Galactic Council said Earth had destroyed itself. No survivors. No life. Now it was just a silent world left behind. Forgotten, perfect for looting. A graveyard world. The scavenger ship, Dust Leech, moved slowly through Earth's upper atmosphere. The alien scanners picked up old structures, wrecked cities, radiation zones, and deep underground ruins. "No weapons online," said one crew member. "No satellites. No defenses." Vrex smiled. "Good, that means we're the first." He turned to his team. "Prepare landing crew. Take the new ones. Let them see what a dead world looks like." Touchdown in a Shesta team landed near the ruins of a giant human city once called Tokyo. Now it was just towers of black steel, rusting bridges, and silent roads. Vines crept up the buildings. Dust blew through the air like snow. One young alien, Neko, looked around with wide eyes. "This place? It feels strange." Another laughed. "You scared of ghosts, Neko?" Neko shook his head, but stayed close to the group. The team spread out, scanning for anything valuable tech, energy cores, relics to sell in the black markets. The mockery begins inside a broken human museum. The crew found old statues, strange artwork, and faded signs in English. Captain Vrex picked up a dusty human helmet. "Look at this junk. They actually wore this into battle." More laughter. One alien kicked over a statue. Another drew on the wall with black paint Primitivo P's. "They built machines they couldn't control," said Vrex. "They wiped themselves out. Stupid species." The crew relaxed. They took off helmets, smoked energy pods, took selfies in front of human ruins. No one noticed the sound behind them, a soft metal clang. Then another, a warning in the dark. Neko was the first to hear it. A quiet clicking like metal tapping on stone. He turned his head sharply. "Did you hear that?" he asked. Vrex rolled his eyes. "Stop jumping at shadows." But Neko wasn't imagining things. He saw movement, something darting behind a pillar. Too fast to see clearly. "There's something down here," he whispered. Then the lights flickered. The crew's wrist scanners began glitching. One by one, their comms went silent. Captain Vrex stood up. "Everyone, back to the ship. Now, too late. They're not alone." The first scream came from the far hall. A soldier named Rax had gone to check a tunnel alone. His scream was short, sharp, then cut off. The team ran toward the noise but found only his gear. His weapon was melted, his helmet was cracked, and next to it, on a metal wall, was a bloody handprint. A human handprint. Neko whispered. "They said Earth was dead." Captain Vrex growled. "It should be." Then the lights went out. The human voice in the pitch darkness. Something spoke. A voice, cold, calm, familiar. "You came to laugh at our graves. Now you'll join them." Red lights lit up the hall, laser sights, flashing beams. Shadows moved like ghosts through the smoke. Weapons fired. Something fast hit one of the aliens from above, slamming him into the ground. He didn't move again. The crew fired in all directions, panicked, but they couldn't see the enemy. One by one, They were taken, dragged into the dark, until only Neko and Vrex remained hiding behind a cracked pillar. Shaking, silent, the face of earth from the smoke, a figure stepped out, human, wearing a black cloak, eyes sharp and cold, face covered in scars. She held a long, hand-forged blade in one hand and a plasma rifle in the other. She spoke in Old English. "This is our planet. You do not belong here." Vrex raised his weapon, hands shaking. We thought Earth was dead. The woman looked down at him. "You were wrong." She turned and walked away. Dozens more shadows followed her, humans, armored, silent, warriors, survivors. Back to the Sky Captain, Vrex and Neko were allowed to live. Their ship was left untouched. They didn't speak until they reached orbit. Neko finally whispered, "Captain, what do we tell the others?" Vrex stared out the window at the blue and black planet below. "Tell them," he paused. "Tell them to never come back." The stars looked cold from orbit. Captain Vrex sat in the command chair of the Dust Leech, staring down at Earth. His hands shook. His eyes wouldn't blink. He hadn't said a word since they escaped the surface. His crew was nearly gone. Only Neko and 3 others had made it back, and none of them could explain what they had seen. Silent space inside the ship. The survivors moved carefully. No one joked. No one laughed. Neko sat alone near the storage bay. He kept looking at his gloves, still stained with someone else's blood. He could still hear the voice. "You came to laugh at our graves. Now you'll join them." The humans weren't dead. They weren't broken. They were hunting. Council Response day later. A message came from the Galactic Council. "You are ordered to stay in orbit. A security team is being sent. Full scans of Earth will begin. Human survivors are not possible. Your report must be wrong." Captain Vrex didn't reply. He simply sent the Council a copy of the human's voice transmission, along with an image, the bloody handprint. The Council's reply was delayed. Then it came short and sharp. "Remain in position. Do not engage. Help is coming." But Vrex already knew something. The Council, DIDN, single quotes to taut. Below the surface, beneath the ruins of Tokyo, deep underground, the humans moved through tight tunnels. Their boots made no sound. Their weapons were handmade, upgraded with old Earth tech and salvaged alien pieces. Commander Ilara Quinn led them. She had lived through the fall of Earth, hidden in the shadows, fought in tunnels, watched friends die, and carried the pain in silence. Now, she stood in what used to be a subway station, turned into a command base. Screens flickered. Maps were hand-drawn. Ammo was limited, but her people didn't look weak. They looked ready, new. Prisoners, the humans had captured 2 aliens alive from the scavenger team. Both were tied, blindfolded, and shaking. Ilara removed the blindfolds. She looked at them without emotion. "What's your name?" She asked the taller one, Arello. He stammered. "Why are you here?" We were told Earth was dead," he said. "Just a graveyard. We were scavengers. That's all." Ilara narrowed her eyes. "Dead, is that what they're calling us now?" She stepped closer. "You saw our city. You saw our children. You saw our defense grid." Rello nodded, afraid to speak. Ilara leaned in. "Go back to your council. Tell them we are not ghosts. We are fire beneath the ground." The forgotten truth later. Ilara stood with her second in command, Marshal Wren. "They'll send a fleet," Wren said. "The council won't believe scavengers. They'll send warships." Ilara nodded. "Let them come." She walked to a sealed door deep in the base. It opened with a loud hiss. Inside was a room full of old Earth tech drones. Weapons A is that had been offline for decades. Illyara placed her hand on a metal pod. A voice-activated Tehran. Commander. Orders, Commander Quinn. Illyara said one word. Wake. Orbit shakes again 3 days later. A council ship arrived in orbit above Earth. Sleek, armed, 10 times larger than the dust. Leech, they called themselves peacekeepers. They didn't send a diplomat. They sent drones. The machines flew down to the surface like silver wasps, scanning, searching, mapping. But before they reached the surface, something unexpected happened. They vanished, mid-air. No explosion, no crash, just ... gone. Eyes. In the dark, Neko sat in the dust leech's observation room, staring at the dark part of Earth where they had landed. He saw lights there, now red, green, bloom, moving in patterns. He realized it wasn't just a ruin, it was a city, alive, breathing, watching. He whispered to himself, how long have they been waiting? Flashback, the fall deep underground. Illyara sat alone in a metal room, staring at an old photograph. It showed her family, mother, father, 2 little brothers smiling in front of a mountain. They died when the council bombed the eastern colonies. Back then, Earth begged for help, for mercy, but the council didn't listen. They said humans were dangerous, so they let the world burn. But Illyara didn't forget. She didn't forgive. A message sent the next day. The council ship in orbit received a new transmission. It came from Earth's surface, encrypted and pulsing with power. The message was short. You thought Earth was dead, but death would have been easier than survival. We survived, and now we remember. The crew of the council ship looked at each other in silence. Captain Thala, a veteran of 300 battles, leaned forward. Prepare the fleet, he said. We're not dealing with ruins. We're dealing with revenants. Far below, in the hidden human city, Illyara looked at her people, farmers, children, old engineers, young warriors, each of them ready to defend what little they had left, not for revenge, but for dignity, for Earth. Beneath the burned shell of the old world, the last human city was alive. It did not shine, it did not rise into the sky. It breathed, slowly and quietly, like a creature waiting in the dark. The underground world Captain Thala of the Galactic Council leaned over the holographic map. The Council's best spy drones had scanned Earth's surface but found nothing useful. Every time they tried to zoom in, the signal cut out. Every time they sent probes, they vanished. Where are they hiding? Thala muttered. One of his officers pointed at the old ruins beneath Tokyo. There's something under here. Heat signatures, movement, but it's buried deep, too deep. Thala narrowed his eyes, then dig them out. The walls below. Beneath that very ground, Commander Illyara Quinn walked through the city her people had built. The lights were dim. The walls were made of salvaged metal, broken train cars, old ship parts. But everything worked. Children learned in quiet classrooms, taught by old scientists and soldiers. Food grew in underground. Hydro farms. Doctors healed the wounded with recycled equipment and steady hands. It wasn't paradise, but it was home, and it had survived longer than anyone expected. Memories in Stony Lara stopped at a wall near the city's center. On it were names, thousands of them hand-carved into steel, the names of those who had died during the Great Silence. When the council had abandoned Earth, her own mother's name was there, so was her best friend's. She placed her hand over the cold metal, not for sorrow, but to remember why they still fight. Neko's discovery above, aboard the dust leech. Neko was watching the Earth through the ship's scanner window again. He zoomed in, adjusting the lens slowly. Then, for just a moment, he saw something strange, a light, faint enough to miss, but it blinked in a pattern. He recorded it and played it back. It was Morse code, old Earth signal style. The message said, "Still breathing, still human, still here." He turned to Captain Vrex. "They're not hiding," Neko said. "They're speaking." The council arrives just hours later. A massive council fleet arrived. In Earth's orbit, 20 ships, advanced weapons, tactical drones. The sky over Earth turned dark with metal dot. Captain Thaler stood on the bridge of his flagship and gave the order. Begin deployment. Bring the city to light. Drop pods launched from the ships, crashing into Earth's crust like thunder. But when they opened, they found nothing, just rock. Tunnels sealed shut, silent echoes, until one pod team reported something odd. There's a staircase, metal, leading down. The invitation. That same day, a council recon team walked carefully through an ancient sewer line beneath Tokyo. Steam hissed from broken pipes. The walls felt alive then. They saw it, a steel door. On it, painted in red, were the words, "You came to see ghosts. Welcome to the last city breathing." Before they could decide what to do, the door opened. Commander Ilara stood there, arms folded. Behind her were hundreds of humans, armored, silent, watching. Ilara looked at the council officer. "We're not ghosts," she said. "We're the warning you didn't hear." The council's dilemma. Captain Thaler received the report with disbelief. They opened the door. "Just like that?" "Yes, sir," his officer replied. No weapons raised, no threats, just a conversation. The captain's face hardened. "Send me down there, myself." The meeting deep inside the city. Ilara waited in a council room, built from scraps of old steel and broken glass. When Captain Thaler entered, he looked around with slow disbelief. "This place shouldn't exist," he said. Ilara raised her eyebrow. "Yet it does." Thaler studied the people, young fighters, old engineers, children growing vegetables. "You've built all this from nothing." Ilara shook her head. "Not nothing, from loss, from memory, from fire." Thaler looked her in the eyes. "Why? Didn't you call for help?" Ilara stepped forward. "We did. The council ignored us." A bitter truth. Lyra walked Thaler through the tunnels, showing the hidden defense grid, the labs, the encrypted satellite station, even the energy core salvaged from crashed council probes. "We stopped calling for help," she said. "Why?" Thaler asked. Ilara looked him in the eyes. "Because we realized no one was coming, so we became the help. We became the wall that holds our planet up." Decision time back aboard the fleet. Council advisors argued, "Destroy them." Some said, "They're rebels. Negotiate." Others replied, "If we fight, we'll lose ships, and they'll become heroes." Captain Thaler sat in silence. Then he spoke. "No." Everyone stopped. He stood. "We came expecting ruins. We found resilience. We mocked their graves. And they answered." He pointed to the planet. "If we fight this world now, we fight the very idea of survival." The world watches across the galaxy. The footage leaked. Someone had filmed the moment Captain Thaler shook Elara's hand. Alien worlds watched in silence, and slowly, across stars, across sectors, they began to speak the same phrase. Earth lives, and it remembers. Asterisk, for the first time in centuries, the skies over Earth burned again. But this time it wasn't Earth that was burning. The betrayal above Captain Thaler had shaken Elara's hand. He had spoken of peace. He had seen Earth's pain, the strength of its survivors, and the life beneath the ruins. But the Council had other plans. Far above, the real order came from a cold planet named Zindara, place where Council leaders still clung to power with bloody hands. The message was clear. Remove the human city. Eliminate the threat. Earth must remain broken. A second fleet was already on its way. They didn't come to talk. They came to erase. A warning to late inside Earth's last city. Elara stood in the command chamber. Her people worked in silence, preparing for whatever came next. Suddenly, a message came through. It was Neko from the dust leech above. Commander, you have to leave. Now, they lied. Another fleet is coming, it's huge. They're going to static. The signal died. Elara didn't panic. She just stared ahead. Everyone to battle stations, she said. They're not just mocking us this time. They're trying to finish what they started. The sky cracks there. Second Council fleet arrived in waves over 100 warships. The sky above the Pacific glowed red. Council soldiers dropped from orbit in burning pods. Gunships screamed through the clouds. The attack was silent. No warning, no declaration, just fire. But Earth was not caught sleeping. As the first bombs fell on empty ruins, the ground opened. Turrets rose from hidden bunkers. Laser arrays fired from the tops of broken skyscrapers and from the sea. Long-forgotten submarines launched swarms of drone interceptors. The humans didn't just resist, they fought back. The battle begins. Commander Elara led from the front, wearing armor made from old earth, metal, and captured alien plating. She charged through smoke and rubble with a plasma rifle in her hand. By her side ran the people of Earth's miners, teachers, engineers, turned soldiers. They moved like ghosts fast, precise, deadly. Council forces, expecting an easy fight, were overwhelmed in one sector. Human guerrilla teams cut power to enemy shields. In another, a group of teenage snipers raised in tunnels picked off invaders before they even touched the ground. This was not just defense. This was revenge. Neko's choice aboard, the dust leech. Neko watched in horror. He had warned them, but it wasn't enough. The fleet came anyway. His hands shook. He had never fired a weapon, but he saw it now, his crew joining the attack. Thinking it was the right side, he made his choice. Neko ran to the emergency escape pod, punched in the coordinates for Earth, and launched. He didn't know if he would live, but he knew where he belonged. The pulse weapon inside the old Earth defense vault. Elara gave the final command. Activate the Thor pulse. Her engineers hesitated. It's unstable. It could collapse half the city. Elara looked up at the burning sky. Do it. The Thor pulse was humanity's last weapon built from tech so old and dangerous. Even Earth's own governments had sealed it away. But now was the time. A tower in the center of the city lit up with blue light. The clouds parted, and then it fired. A single pulse of energy ripped through the air and struck the heart of the enemy fleet. In 1 second, 37 Council warships lost all power and fell from the sky like dying birds, ashes and smoke. The battle raged for hours. Flames spread through ruined streets, smoke covered the mountains. Bodies alien and human lay side by side in the dust. But Earth did not fall at sunrise. The sky was clear again. Only one council ship remained. Captain Thaler stood on its bridge, silent. He had begged the council to listen. Now he watched his fleet burn because they didn't. He opened a channel to Earth. Ilara appeared on the screen, blood on her face, but standing tall. "You should leave," she said. "And tell them what?" Thaler asked. Ilara stared into the screen. "That Earth doesn't need to be feared. It needs to be respected." The world responds news of the battle spread across the galaxy. Footage of humans defending their last home became viral across alien networks. Millions watched a child, no older than 10, pull another child from burning rubble while laser fire exploded around them. They watched elderly humans protect water stations, engineers turning trash into weapons, farmers defending solar panels with handmade rifles, and slowly the galaxy stopped laughing. No more jokes about primitive humans, no more mocking old Earth. Now there was only silence. A flag in the dust. 2 days later, the last council ship fled. In the ruins above Tokyo, a flag was raised. It was not a flag of empire. It had no stars, no crowns, just a black background with a single white word: remember. The war was over, but Earth had not gone quiet. Its voice had just begun. The aftermath. The skies were still stained with smoke. Fallen council. Ships lay across deserts and oceans like broken bones. Fires still burned in the forests. Cities still crumbled at the edges, but deep below the surface. Earth's last city was still alive, still breathing, still human. The council's Silenson, the capital world of Zintha. The Galactic Council held an emergency session, but the chamber was no longer loud. No shouts, no speeches, just guilt, just fear, just silence. A holoscreen in the center replayed the same video over and over again. A child shielding his sister during the orbital attack. A Terran doctor using alien tech to save a wounded enemy. Commander Ilara walking through flames with a Terran flag wrapped around her arm. The caption below the video said, "You thought they were gone, but you didn't know what it means to survive." The final message, 3 days later, the entire galaxy received. A transmission. No one knew how Earth's systems reached so far. Any thought their tech was too weak, too old, but the message arrived in every language, on every screen. From the richest core worlds to the farthest mining moons, it was Ilara. She stood before a broken statue, dust falling around her. Her voice clear, strong, and without hate. "We are not your enemy. We never wanted war. We never wanted power. We wanted to be left in peace. But when you mocked our pain, when you erased our history, when you came to laugh at our bones," she paused, "we showed you the one thing stronger than your ships. Human spirit." The feed glitched for a second, only to return with an image of Earth rising over a council world skyline. A quiet message played. "We are still here. The galaxy reacts in trade hubs." Aliens stopped working and just watched. On war planets, soldiers lowered their weapons. On academic worlds, teachers rewrote the history books, removing the word extinct next to Homo sapiens. And across border colonies, people whispered, "Earth didn't die. Earth endured." The dust leech returns. Captain Vrex and Neko returned to Earth in silence. No fanfare, no orders, just a ship and 2 changed lives. They requested to stay not as soldiers, not as spies, but as helpers. Vrex, once a loud scavenger, now spent his days repairing tunnels. Neko helped teach alien languages to Terran children, many of whom had never seen the stars. One day, a little girl with soot on her face asked Neko, "Why did you come back?" He smiled softly, "Because I thought Earth was dead, and now I know it's more alive than anywhere I've ever seen." The Hall of Name's a new monument was built where the old Tokyo Tower had once stood. It wasn't tall, it wasn't gold, it was quiet. The Hall of Names held the records of every human who had died during the council's silence. Every lost voice, every burned village, every ignored scream. But at the end of the hall was a single room empty except for a small plaque. The words read, "They came to mock. They left with memories. Now they know." A new generation years passed. The city grew. Children born underground now walked the surface freely. Greenery returned. Old buildings were rebuilt with alien help. Peace talks began, and in time, Earth was no longer called the broken world. It was called the world that refused to die. The last seen Commander Ilara stood on a hilltop, her armor stored away, her hair now silver, her back a little bent, but her eyes still sharp. She looked at a field of wildflowers that grew where once there had only been ashdot. Next to her stood a teenage girl, her apprentice, her future. Will they come back? The girl asked. Ilara looked up at the sky, where satellites floated peacefully. "They might," she said. The girl looked scared. "What will we do?" Ilara smiled. "We'll stand. We'll fight if we must. But more than anything, we'll remind them who we are."